Hey Justin,
Hey, Bo,
what?
how's it going?
Good, good. Just
Good.
what is it? Rainy Thursday
Yeah,
today?
like a tornado blowing through, all kinds of nonsense. But
Yeah.
we're here, we're excited.
Again, switching gears a little bit again today,
Yep.
and we're definitely going to go back and talk more about the conversation we had on the previous episode with mindset and things like that because I want to know how we got there. And kind of topics we're going to talk about today is food. And how did we get where we are as a society, and how do we climb out of it? How do we get out of this? I like to call it this metabolic hole that we're in. On a previous episode, we talked about some biomarkers and things like that. I'm going to mention some of those during this because it makes more sense to go through those things. And we'll get into all that on other episodes as well because I the amount of people that don't know what to eat, and we're going to talk about that stuff, boggles my mind. And some of the propaganda that we've been spilled to over many, many years has trickled down through the generations.
Yeah, huge.
And it is dumbfounding to me that we are still buying it.
Yeah.
And we're still being sold it by like kind of mainstream medicine a little bit too.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
man trying to keep
Yeah.
us down. So listen. Can you start with that? Start
Yeah.
about
So I could like so we're in this way because of kind of things that were brought up. I guess what was in the 90s, maybe this food pyramid, late 80s, early 90s, something like that. The food pyramid came out, right? We were taught this, and there's we're not going to go down the whole conspiracy theory road tonight about why this happened because I think there were some handshakes dealt
yeah.
that led to a lot of
Yeah, it
this.
gets too deep, but it almost
Yeah,
doesn't matter,
but
right?
it could be fun to
It
talk
almost
about one
doesn't
day.
matter. Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
we'll
it
we'll
is.
move on for today.
Yeah.
But it basically this food guide pyramid it was a pyramid, and at the bottom, the most consumptions that you were supposed to have were grains of like 50 to 60% of what you're supposed to eat a day. So and that's all carbohydrates basically. That your breads, that your so-called healthy whole grain. Anyway,
Because
moving
it
on.
had pictures of like a loaf of bread, bag of rice, wheat, and a
Yeah,
potato.
pasta.
Yeah.
And then it had 10 to 15% veggies, 10 to 15% fruits, 10 to 15% dairy, and then 10 to 15% protein, and then less than 10% fats. Okay, let's just remember that as we're talking, okay? Because those two bottom ones are huge. Because remember how we all grew up in the late 80s, early 90s into the 2000s, it was this low fat era, right? I
Mhm.
can eat 72 Snackwell cookies and not worry about it. And it's loaded with freaking sugar, but it has no fat, so I'm safe, right? I'm
Yeah.
safe. I can get these big Entenmann's coffee cake things that had no fat free. Ooh, I can eat it. What was the yogurt place? Um, the frozen yogurt place.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, this is fat free. We can eat
yeah,
all that we want
yeah.
to.
Double,
So
double scoop,
yeah,
double fill me up.
load it up. And then I think in the early 2000s, you might not even heard about this. Your kids probably did. I looked it up. I didn't even know it was a thing called My Plate that they started trying to sell to people. It was half of the plate. Had a circle, getting rid of the pyramid. A circle had half of the plate fruits and vegetables, which is still just carbs, and fourth of the plate protein, and a fourth of the plate grains.
Interesting.
So and then fats are non-existent, right? Even though fats usually a little bit of fat comes with some proteins and things like that. So whatever, they left it out. So where has that gotten us as we look around at our society, at our culture, and the obesity epidemic that we're in? What I think it's like 40 something percent of adults have type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
So these experiments worked, right? The standard American diet, the SAD experiment, I like to call it. Like, I mean, and probably over the past, what is it, 2025, the past 10 or so years, people are kind of started asking questions, challenging the system and saying what's going on, because we're and the American people have said, if you tell us what we're supposed to do, we will do it, obviously.
Mm.
And so we've done that and we're sicker. So where did that get us? And there's some things to where and grains and things like that are basically what you get in the middle of the grocery store that are in all the boxes, right? It's all the processed foods. It's cheap, easily mass produced, and available.
Yeah,
So
I think I heard one time, and these are part of this is we'll talk about this in a second. The mat the these also all these diets that came about because of this, which were the extreme of this, right? Which is, but also I think I heard one time, which I don't think is a horrible idea, but if it's in a bag or a box, don't eat it.
bags of boxes with barcodes, don't
That's
eat it.
that's wild to me. But if you make it that simple, that's so a lot of this is about good starts, right? So how do
Yeah.
I'm not going to go from where you are today if you eat out 4 times a week to um, to all organic whole foods all the time with your body weight in protein, right? And people aren't going to make that leap. But what can you do initially to make a dent?
It it kind of depends on where you are, I think, is how you have to look at it, and where do you need to start, and is it an emergency,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the way I kind of look at it. When I'm talking, especially when I'm talking to patients, and I am not anybody's provider that's going to be listening. So talk to your provider, talk to your healthcare professional, talk to your nutritionist, whatever.
Masters.
This is just information. Take it as you will. Basically, what you need to do is you need to take all of these ideas, especially the pyramid, and flip it on its head. Recreate that. There has been, for a long time, obviously a demonization of fat and red meats, especially for multiple purposes that we won't get into today. But it is like that. That's one of the things that's still a thing today, to where even people our age think that if their whatever cholesterol level's high, oh, if I just don't eat as much red meat, it's going to get better.
Interesting.
Not true. So, and then all of those studies have been more a correlation and not causative of things. And so then it comes back to, how do I get to where I need to go? It, like, again, it said, it kind of depends on where you are. Like, how overweight are you? And then the question is always for me is like, what do you eat? What's your daily kind of, what are you eating? And I don't think people understand what they're eating. And it's 100% true. They do not. It's almost like, yeah. So I'll give a few examples that, especially if people think that they're kind of doing the healthier thing, they'll say, "Well, I eat pretty good," or "I don't eat out a lot," or "I eat clean." That means totally different things to so many people.
Yeah.
So I kind of think of it like when I used to work in a hospital, you're admitting somebody that's going through alcohol withdrawals or something like that, and you'll say, well, how much do you drink? No matter what they say, you double or triple it because they're lying.
Yeah, yes, yeah. With 100, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting.
And to go back a little bit about where we are, what we've been eating. So guess what the number one food in America is that people eat? The number one food:
Oh, I don't know.
pizza.
Cool.
And pizza's good. And just keep that in your thought process there.
Okay.
What's the number one vegetable?
Broccoli.
Potatoes in the form of a French fry.
Oh, that's fake. Fair.
So, and when I say that is that what goes along with pizza? There's a lot of fat, There's with the cheese or the meats that you're getting on there, lots of calories, but a lot of bread, a lot of bread.
Hmm.
So that's like the pizza, which I love, is like the epitome of what has happened with the demonization of some foods and what is happening to our body when we eat them, because it's loaded with calories, which we're going to talk about, and it's loaded with carbs and fats and protein. So it's
Okay.
got all of them, but it's been misconstrued of what's good in it and what's not.
Right. Okay. So let's stop there for half a second, which is because people don't have to ditch things they like,
Hmm.
right? And so
Hmm.
it's a concept in general of moderation. It's moderation in all the things. But I don't think people have any clue. This is one of those really interesting things you see every once in a while. It's like, hey, how many calories are in? They used to do it on Biggest Loser. Remember that show? A long time ago?
Hmm.
I think they came out with the show on Netflix about it, about how bad it was. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
point
It's
is,
kind of awesome though.
it was great. But they would say, how many calories is in a donut? How many carbs are in a so and so? How many, like, and people would have no clue. But you can eat your daily content in pizza, your daily everything, your daily amount of calories, fat, everything except for the things that are good for you in a Friday with not that much of this kind of stuff, right? Or if you go
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
McDonald's, you better be eating once a day because that's it's you're done. And so that's
As a calorie,
as
yeah.
from a calorie standpoint. And so let me ask you this, and this is a legitimate, this is just a me question. Is it more complicated than calories in, calories out? I'm a math guy, right? And so science is what it is. I don't if my basal metabolic rate is X, if I run on the treadmill for Y, if I add these many calories, I don't care about we're not even going to get into the depths of macros. If
Hmm.
I eat any variety of 2000 calories a day, will I lose weight if initially? And let's pretend that I'm 30 pounds overweight, okay? And and again, these are these hypothetical what ifs, and it's ridiculous, but it helps people understand this concept. And I don't also asterisk, you shouldn't just eat bagels all day,
Hmm.
right? Because that would be 800 calories. But
Yeah.
if I just ate 1,000 calories a day, would I lose weight in the same amount of time as if somebody that ate 1,000 calories of protein?
No, not absolutely not.
Okay,
And
tell,
what
tell me
and
about that.
because like the calories in calories out thing, it kind of becomes like law of thermodynamics, right? That's what you're saying. It's like if I eat, because it's all energy, right? Energy in, energy out. Okay. But all calories aren't weighed equal, because
Well,
to get into
people don't even get that, which is a calorie of fat and a calorie of carb and a calorie of um,
protein.
protein are not the same.
No, well, I mean, energy wise, okay, just to be
Sorry, sorry,
scientific,
sorry.
energy
Whoops.
wise, a
Sorry.
calorie is four,
Right.
or a carb is four, a protein is 4 calories, a gram of fat is 9 calories. Okay. But fat digested spends little to no energy. Carbs digested spends little or no energy. Proteins digested spends about 25% of that energy alone.
Okay.
So that's why meat sweats. You get, if you eat a crap ton of meat, your body's freaking burning.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
that metabolic rate is speeded up because it takes 25% of those calories that you just ate to digest it and use it.
Interesting. Okay.
So calories in, calories out things very different. And if that kind of if that's just like the calorie king, calories in, calories out thing for weight loss, it's way more than that. Especially because what are we typically trying? Like if you just said, I need to drop 5 pounds and you don't care what that 5 pounds is, sure, go for it. But if you're looking to be healthy and you're looking to lose the right weight,
Different.
it's a very different picture.
Different. Different. Yeah. Good. Yeah. 100%. Um, so let me ask you this: what does your food plate look like? Or what is your food diamond? Whatever new tag you're gonna put on it, right? If you were the government and you said, "Hey, I'm gonna now this is what you do, America."
Okay.
What does that look like?
And they're about to come out with that. It's supposed to already been out, but it's not out yet. It's supposed to be released before the end of 2025. They're supposed to come out with food guidelines every 5 years.
Interesting.
Oh God, dog, I can't remember. The change of protein hasn't changed in forever.
Because it was 20% the first time. It was 25% the second time.
And most of those numbers, it's like a bunch of people sitting around guessing.
Yeah, and it's also less
It's,
than it should be. So what should it be? What I mean, and again,
oh,
well,
it,
I'm
it's,
not trying to win CrossFit games. I'm trying to
but
do what
still,
most people are doing.
protein is the macronutrient that has been lost in our society.
Wild.
We have focused everything on carbs or fats.
Why is that?
Nothing. It's because of this. I think it's because of the cost of
It's
protein,
expensive. Yeah.
and it's this fear that it's going to cause you to have kidney problems, and it's not.
And heart problems. Yeah. To your point earlier, I have X, Y, and Z because of red meat. But even
Hmm.
protein in other forms, even a protein in if you just eat fish or you just eat whatever, or if you're a vegetarian and you get enough protein, which is really hard to do, by the way.
Uh, yeah, you have to be really with the. And that was what I was gonna say. Like, and if you're a vegan, I'm sorry, but if like religious purposes, whatever, don't change your religious thoughts on being a vegan. But if you're thinking it's doing it because you think it's healthier, you're eating a crap ton of carbohydrates and you're not getting a lot of the micronutrients that you need.
It's
And
impossible.
you have to be really, really smart to be able to manage that. And
Agreed.
that's way smarter than I can be.
Yeah, and you got to supplement it too, right? I think you have to supplement
Hmm.
a vegan diet.
You're going to be lack of iron, your B vitamins, all kinds of stuff. Like, and when people are going down these roads, they forget that vegetables and fruits are carbohydrates.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They have some fiber that can be beneficial, and they don't spike your glucose like other things can, but it's still carbohydrates.
All right, listen,
100%.
I'm gonna lean on you. What's your protein? What should people? And this is the average person. I'm not trying to win weightlifting competitions. I'm gonna pin you down here. What should your protein be?
You have to look. I would say this: whatever and this is hard to define.
And this
Whatever
is
your
unfair
lean.
because I didn't tell you that I was gonna do this.
No,
I'm gonna do
no.
it anyway.
But this is what I tell people. Whatever your lean mass is, not your overall mass, because we all need a little fat, things like that. Whatever our lean mass is of our body should be 1 pound of 1 gram of protein per that pound.
Oh,
So
very interesting. Very interesting because what you see all over the place is 1 gram or zero point 0.7 to 1 gram per body weight, which is way out of line if you have 60% or if you're way out of line from where you need to be healthy, right? So is like where you want to be healthy a fair a number, right? So if I'm 185 now and I should weigh 155 according to health
Well, oh
standards,
yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah.
so that's a healthier number, right?
Mm-hmm. That I mean, but so
And
protein's
that's
different,
hard.
and
That's hard.
this is
Can I
another thing.
can I say
Oh, it's
that's
very
hard?
hard.
It's hard to get to.
Absolutely,
So people should
because
not
what?
be ashamed, or they should like
No,
step toward the right direction is a beautiful thing, because I think people eat like 40 grams of protein a day and are like, man, I'm killing it. And
but you
if
know
you get
what? They
to
have no
100,
idea that they even ate it. They have no
no,
idea even what they ate. No
no.
idea.
But to
So
get
then,
to 155 is not an easy task.
yeah, prioritize your protein.
Okay.
And like, sorry, but if you're going to do this appropriately, you have to plan.
Do hard things.
Yeah, you have to, because you can't, oh, I'm just going to grab this steak out of the refrigerator and eat it for lunch. No, doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. You have to prepare it. And so that's kind of so protein's a little different. And, those numbers sound daunting, right? Because we've never thought about it. How much protein do I get in a day? Unless you're like a macro counter and all the time. Most people, 97 point whatever percent people, whatever percentage you want to throw on it, don't
No
do that.
clue. No clue.
But so the things I've learned over the past several months and the things I've read about, that this is the kicker, right? And this is how you can really prioritize things. So as we're growing up and we're teenage years up until our mid 20s, late whatever, whenever we quit growing, we're living off hormones. We can eat proteins sprinkled out throughout the day, and we're going to continue to grow because our growth hormones like going crazy and we're just growing, right? But when we hit those points, then our muscles react to food. So when we go to bed at night and we're not eating anything, so the fast that we go into, and it has been studied and shown that it takes anywhere between 30 to 50 grams of protein in a meal, in the bolus of a meal, to stop that breakdown and start to rebuild,
Wow.
because our body uses our muscles to feed other systems throughout the body during a fast. It's just the way things work. It can get glucose from our muscles, other amino acids that needs to help out other organ systems. So the things that they've always shown is the 30 to 50 grams of protein in the first meal. Doesn't have to be breakfast if you don't eat breakfast, whatever. Doesn't matter. And the last meal, because then that pushes you into the nighttime. So there's already 80 to 100 grams of protein. If you and that's just planning two meals. And then it comes hard because then I'm a snacky person. So
Yeah.
then what do I eat during the day?
Yeah.
Or what do I eat for lunch? And during those snacks and your lunch or whatever it may be, that's when you have to fill that gap. You fill that gap during those times, with some types of proteins, whether you're eating chicken salad for lunch or having another hamburger, whatever, or burger patty. Then filling it with some nuts, seeds, um, um, beef sticks, things like that, and Greek yogurt. But just be careful with what the contents are there. Some protein shakes, stuff like that you can kind of fill the gap. And this is if you're really trying to get there, lose weight, but keep your lean mass on,
Which
but you're
everybody should
trying to get rid of the fat.
which everybody
And,
should do. Right?
yeah, and this is comes back to the calorie thing, right? And calories in, this is with people that are overweight. I tell them, don't count your calories. Get rid of your carbs. If
Really?
you get rid of your carbs, the fat's going to come off.
Okay.
And that's
So
why you see people that have done keto or carnivore, like they just trim down
so let
because
me
it.
okay, so interesting. So let me ask you this. That's an interesting that's great, which is makes sense to me. What so and that doesn't necessarily mean lose all of them, right? Because they're because a lot of this is about, and we're going to take away doing hard stuff. This is an episode about the median, right? How do I
Mm-hmm.
manage this as a working single mother? How do I manage this as a so and so and so and so? Now, also, don't hear this wrong. You can manage any of it if you care about it enough. But
Mm-hmm.
if I don't want to go that hard, right? I'm not ready to do that. I don't necessarily have to take out every carb that I have in my diet. I don't have to go no carb, but I can't eat 500 carbs a day, right? Because your body also realizes or recognizes what you have been doing. I think a lot of trainers, a lot of physicians, and you tell me wrong, a lot of everybody says, well, this matters because what are you eating now? Because if I'm eating 3,500 calories, or if I'm consuming 4,000 calories a day in any shape, form, or fashion, including hamburgers, Chick-fil-A, beer, if that's 4,000 calories a day and I instantly come back to some normal range, is my body going to recognize that as a loss in calories? Or is it going to recognize it as like, hey, thanks for coming to the universe? Um, and I think
It's
that's where
probably going to
people,
recognize as you being hungry,
yeah, yeah,
because I think we have as a whole, including us, and we have become somewhat normalized of being full and not being not hungry.
and it's time to eat, right? And so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether I'm hungry, it's time to eat. And that is a
Mm-hmm.
terrifying concept to me. All that's another thing with the big food pyramid, because it's just like you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and shit in between. But you, without a doubt, you absolutely have three squares, and that in the end. And I have said a lot of times, and my kids will hate me, but I said a lot of times when they said I'm hungry, I have always said, no, you're not, you're thirsty. Because I
Yeah.
have found
Yeah.
also that a lot of times the feeling that I have now, let me asterisk this with, I'm one of those very lucky people, and I think it's psychology. I don't feel hungry. I very rarely, I don't know what that sensation is. I don't say the words I'm starving. And I don't know
Yeah.
where that came from.
Uh,
I think I do,
And that's a
but
kid. That's a kid thing,
but I don't. This doesn't
more
mean
than
I'm
us.
starving. No, you're not. But I think a lot of people, really adults included, when they say, "Man, I'm hungry," in between times where they really should be eating or where their calories aren't wearing out, it might be because you're dehydrated. Is that a fair thing, or did I just make that up?
Or it's like my dogs know when it's 5 o'clock.
Oh, yes,
It's the same thing.
yes.
Like they're not starving.
So
They
how do
know
you
when it's five
change?
o'clock though.
Oh man. So how do
Well,
you
and I think
change?
that's where it's good, where it's become like the intermittent fasting thing, where people have done that time restricted eating, because it changes habits, is what it really does, and it decreases your amount of calories typically. And if you're getting that amount of protein in and really focusing on that, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to be hungry.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta grind though. If you so people got to be careful with intermittent fasting, because a lot of people intermittent fast and then go to and then in the two hamburgers
Yeah.
dinner instead of
Yeah.
one. So
So
do you intermittent fast?
I
Or
did for
I
a
shouldn't say
while. I
intermittent.
don't
I say
anymore.
intermittent fast. I was always a hungry. I always woke up hungry, and I changed that mentality. So I just, by stupid default, mostly intermittent fast. Like you gotta, so people don't give themselves credit for the time they sleep, right? So like
No. Yeah.
everybody intermittent fasts. Now, if you sleep for 4 hours
That's
a night,
breakfast.
yeah,
That's where it
right.
came from.
Isn't that a crazy thing that people don't hear? That is that like
Yeah.
but if you aren't a snacker, so when I eat dinner, I also don't, I am not a snacker. I am blessed with that concept. I don't, once I eat dinner, I don't get hungry after that. I know a lot of people are. I know there are people in the world that wake up at 2 in the morning and legitimately get up and go eat. And it's, it's
Crazy.
wild. It's wild to me to think about that. Let's take those people out. You go to
Yeah.
bed at a reasonable time and you sleep some reasonable time. You've already got 6 hours banked. If you don't eat breakfast or some version of that, and you get to another meal, the concept of it is, though, is that you're going to take 25% of your calories out of the mix because you probably won't eat that much more in the other meals. And you definitely won't do it after you learn how to do it. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, and you're gonna be full faster
You can't.
because if you're
Yeah,
get
sure.
if you're gonna, it's still your stomach's only gonna hold so much. So you're not like gonna eat two meals with the one meal. So then you've time restricted that part. So yeah, might you eat a few more snacks in between that breakfast and dinner, whatever you want to call it? Sure. But you're probably still going to be in a calorie deficit if you're eating the right stuff. So therein lies your calories, and that's what the intermittent fasting and time restricted eating kind of help.
Go
Unless
back to
you're
go back to
legit
carbs. Go back to
eating.
carbs. Go back to carbs.
So so here, I
I'm
when
if
we
I'm
talked a
removing
little bit
if I'm
about,
removing carbs, because not all
let
carbs
me
are created the same either, right?
this is this is the trick, right? This is the magician behind the curtain. um to where I talked about insulin levels a couple episodes ago and how important they are to know, to where insulin controls it. Okay, when you eat carbs, insulin levels go because got to get the glucose out of the system, right? All the carbs break down and become glucose in your system. Okay, so insulin levels goes up. Insulin talks to your fat cell. Okay, insulin talks to your fat cell, says, hey, I've got energy in the system that's easily and readily used. You just stay there. I'm going to store you for later. Fat's our storage system, right? Fat's our storage system that's like, I got to keep this for later for when there's an emergency,
Right.
right? That's what we have fat for. Fat's more energy, right? It's 9 calories versus 4 calories. So our fat gives us more energy per gram. So like save that for emergencies. I got plenty of glucose going on, carbs are burning away, and proteins turn into carbohydrates too if needed as well. An excess of protein can turn into carbohydrates as well. So, but it's like I told you earlier, it's burned. 25% of those calories are burned during digestion. So then when we decrease our carbohydrate intake, increase our fat intake, because you got to have some energy, right? If you want to maintain your muscle, you don't want to burn your muscle. So increase that fat. Okay, insulin levels come down, talks to your fat cell. Hey, I don't have glucose and I need to feed the system. Okay, getting rid of getting rid of fat, not getting rid of fat cells, getting rid of the abundance of fat and putting it in our system to burn for energy. That's when you hear like ketogenic diet,
Yeah. Yeah.
ketosis, things like that. That I don't think I've ever been in it because I want to try. I'm actually trying to because I want to feel it. Because people say your brain just gets really clear because your brain energy can run off ketosis way better than glucose. But so this is not diabetic ketoacidosis.
Yeah. Right.
That's not that. That's emergency stuff. Got to go to the hospital. Your body's not going to let you to get there if you're not a diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay, by doing this, it's not going to get there by doing this. There's actually a thing. So just to put it in perspective about what I'm talking about, how the insulin talks to the fat cell. So type 1 diabetics don't make insulin. Okay. So they have to give themselves insulin shots or infusions, whatever, to keep their blood sugars down. So they're giving themselves insulin, so their body's using their glucose, right? So it's storing fat using glucose.
Okay.
So there's actually, it could be diabetic anorexia or diabetic bulimia. There's something of that sort. It's a mental issue, but to where some type 1 diabetics will withhold some insulin at times. Their glucose levels go sky high. That's what puts them possibly into ketoacidosis, got to go to the hospital. But they get thin and they burn fat
Mm,
because they can't use their glucose because their insulin levels are too low.
interesting.
So
Okay.
that kind of, because when people first become type 1 diabetics, you'll see them, they'll get real thin and lose a lot of weight real quick.
Right.
It's because their body's burning all the fat because they can't burn the glucose because they're not making any insulin.
Wow. I mean,
So
so
that's where the
how?
the whole calories in, calories out, and how do you do all this thing?
Love it.
And it's very it's complex, but it's not. And that's why I tell people that are like have like higher fat percentages, and that's their main focus and goal. And a lot of them are pushing like insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and all this stuff. That's why I say, hey, don't worry about your calories that much. Don't sweat that. Prioritize your protein and decrease the amount of carbs you're eating, and your fat's gonna come off.
And that's like the end. And you can't. So here's the beauty, and I'm going to wrap this up for us because we could talk about this for weeks. I know you can. And I love that you're passionate about it. And I am too, because I really do. And you said it's complicated. I don't think it is. But what I do think people,
It's very complicated when you've never thought about it in
I
those
know, but you
ways.
have to start. So let me say this. The whole concept of this thing is you're the experiment. And so if
Hmm.
people will try that thing, what's there's no risk here, right? There's only reward. And
Yeah,
that's
and you're gonna, depending on where your weight is, you're gonna see things fairly quickly. So, what can I suggest? One other thing. This is where we're biohacking the crap out of ourselves in today's world, right? Like a lot of people are. The one thing I tell people that is the most eye-opening thing they can do when it comes to their nutrition and it comes to a weight loss journey is get a continuous glucose monitor that you see people wearing on the back of their arm. I've done it. And then it'll truly show you what your body is doing with the food that you eat. Because it's a device that we have in real time that'll show what your blood sugars are, and it updates every 5 minutes. And you can be like, whoa, I didn't know I was doing that. I didn't know it did that to me. And then it makes you think about the food that you're eating. And then the things that you like pizza, like you got to know, I'm going to eat that pizza and it's going to spike my sugars.
all good.
Then I got to go on a walk after
Right.
this.
Right.
So I can bring that glucose level back down and level everything back.
Balance.
It's probably one of the best tools that's out there. And a lot of times you can go online and get them for free, or they're like $100, like $100 for a wealth of knowledge.
Because then you can learn how to do that. You don't have to do it forever. That's the beauty about all this. You don't have to weigh your
Yeah.
food every day forever. You got to weigh it enough to where you look at it and go, that's
And
about
know.
so and so. That's about this. That's almost this. I don't want to do that. This makes me feel like this. That's the experiment, right? I'm the
And
experiment.
if it's loaded in boxes and bags, it's full of carbs. Period. Period.
And this has been a good one. I learned a lot. I appreciate your passion on this, and I know people are going to have questions. They're going to have, but also I'm also motivated to kind of do the thing. So I'm going to.
Now, and maybe we need to give a disclaimer. Like, if you see us out, you may see us having something that we've talked about that's not good to
I don't.
have.
There's no part of this. If people need a disclaimer for
No.
that, they don't know me. But also, the nice thing is that I also see you out at 5:45 in the morning. I also, there's I don't. Um, I stopped waiting for Abercrombie and Fitch to call. That's not why I'm. That's not why I do. That's not why I do that stuff, right? But I want to be
That was
healthy.
awesome.
I want to be here for my kids. I want to feel good in my clothes. I want to feel better for a partner. There are things that I don't want to go to the doctor and hear bad news. I don't. We'll talk about this on the next
Yeah.
episode. I don't want to go to the doctor and get news that I have to now refute, right? Because they want to get me on medication. Um, Heck no.
And that's what we're
So,
going to talk about soon.
yes. So we'll talk about it on the
How to
next
get off this
episode,
stuff.
which is let's not continue down the slippery slopes. One of the things we got off today was the food pyramid and the food plate. Create your own. You're the experiment. Bo, I appreciate you as always. Any last thoughts?
Like be on the lookout for the new guidelines, but to be honest, I don't think it's going to change much. And one last thing about the carbohydrates, they're going to give recommendations, but you know what the recommendations for the lower limit of carbohydrates have been? Because they're not necessary. There's essential amino acids which come in protein that your body needs that we have to put in our mouths, and there's essential fat. There's a fat of what? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. There's essential fatty acids that we have to have too, soluble vitamins that we need to eat fat for. So, not an essential carbohydrate that there is. Do I eat some carbs? Yes, and they do give you energy, but when you're looking at weight loss and fat loss, you really need to watch them.
Love it. So I would love a lot of people in this episode to do questions, hard questions, easy questions,
Yeah.
and also some wins. Right? I did this and I learned this and I experimented with this, and so man, this is a great episode. I appreciate you as
And
always.
I expend on my body a lot, and so so have you.
Yeah, yeah. And if you haven't done it, Bo's done it probably. So
Yeah,
all good, man. Listen,
or
have a
something similar.
yeah. Good and bad. So,
Yeah,
listen,
for sure.
have a great night. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
All right, brother. See you.